Pretty good.
It's how it goes.
Well, you're tall.
So Chris Wall.
He's
He's been coming here for
Did,
30 years.
Oh,
I
love that song.
Yeah, it's on right now.
I just went double that. You know, some of your sons were good, he's 6'5".
I went ahead and started it.
I'm saying they have more serious stuff.
100 kids. Pretty good.
You want to start this?
Yeah, you ready? All right.
Our mom.
Yeah.
10:02 a.m. on Wednesday, February 13th. Pre-Valentine's Eve, I guess. But roll call, please.
Ron Ellis,
Present.
Ray Gentry,
Present.
Jim Marlowe.
Present. If everyone would please rise, we have our pledge of allegiance here. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Tim, what you want to say?
Sure. Lord, we come to you today asking for your graces upon this board. And Lord, we just ask you to guide us as we attend the county business. Lord, we just pray for your blessings upon everyone in this room and all those who could not be here today. We ask that you watch over our country, all of our elected officials, and all of our service people throughout the world, wherever they are. May your hand be upon them. And Lord, we just pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thanks for everyone coming in and for today's meeting. Greg, if you would.
Yeah. Two things. The last one I won't be talking about. I'll get into a little bit too. First thing I've got up is the equipment purchase for a 7-foot bush hog. We took some bids on nearby places that sell this type of bush hog. And the low bid was from FB McBoos in Benton for $4,577 for a 7-foot bush hog. We're getting it now so that we can have it in place before April when we start our mowing. And you guys approval. We're well under the threshold that require us to get bids, but when we get this kind of money, I always like to try to get some bids to see where we're at.
I think that's a good thing. Also, I'm pretty amazed that you're within basically $300
Yeah.
of each other. That tells you that everybody's getting pretty lean out there.
Normally M&S gets most of our stuff, but this time FB McBoos was lower, so we're gonna get the nod on this one.
So we need a motion for that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make that motion. We approve the purchase of the 7-foot bush hog road mower.
Sorry.
Jim Marlowe,
Yeah.
Ray Gentry, Ron Ellis.
Yeah.
And the next thing I've got up is to approve the resolution for acceptance of proposal of furnished materials for our motor fuel tax purchasing of rock, oil and chip, rip wrap, stone, all our band materials. We had our letting last week and we got some really good prices. I've got it, I don't know if you can see, but I've wrote in red all the ones that are cheaper than last year. And so oil prices are down a little bit, and that's going to help us with our own chip, things like that. Our rock is even down a little bit from last year, which is kind of amazing because hauling costs are going up all the time. But I need you guys to approve that so that we can then notify all these bidders that have won these contracts.
I make a motion that we approve the resolution for acceptance of proposal for furnishing materials for the MFT 2019, resolution number 19-02-13-05.
Second.
Jim Marlowe.
Yay.
Craig Gentry.
Yay.
Ron Ellis.
Yay.
The next thing I've got is a resolution for improvement under the Illinois Highway Code. What this is, we're planning to rehabilitate the structure on Grassy Road just west of 148. About 2 years ago, the state put a very severe load restriction on that bridge. It's about 10 tons. And so we've been trying to get the funding in order and get the plans designed, and it looks like it's going to come together for the June letting this year. And the funding split will be 80% federal, 20% local. And so this will be for our local part on that bridge. And so we're setting aside $100,000. That's probably a little more than what we're going to need, because the estimate is right around 400,000. So that would be 80 grand, but I wanted to go high and so I wouldn't have to come back and get authorization for more money. One thing to talk to about that structure, when they do it, that structure is of the type that it's for us to put a runaround. We can't stage construct this bridge, and a runaround would probably triple the cost. So we're going to have about a 30-day closure to redo this bridge. So
Where's this bridge located?
it's on Grassy Road, about half a mile west of 148, just past that general store there. It's kind of, you go down a little bottom there, it's right there.
On that flat stretch.
And it's looking like the June lettings when they're gonna put it out for bids. And it'll take 30 to 45 days to award it. The contractor probably won't get authorization to proceed until September, I'm gonna say. Now, whether they start then or they wait till the following year, I don't know. It'll be up to them. Hopefully they do it, and it gets done this year, so.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to accept resolution for the Grassy Road project, the resolution number 1902-1306.
Jim Marlowe. Craig Gentry. Ron Ellis.
The last thing I wanted to talk about, the state brought this over the other day. I've mentioned it to you guys in the past. The state is planning to do a roundabout there at Blairsville T, where Heron Culp Road comes into Cambria Road. And so they're looking to close that intersection down for 60 days while they do this. Now, I don't know when they're gonna let it. They keep telling me they're gonna do it this fall. So I wanted you guys to be aware of that, plus see this. This is an extra copy. If you want me to leave this up here, I can give it to Stephanie. If somebody asks a question about it, you'll have it.
Why there? I'm not a roundabout fan. Why there?
Well, from what I gather, they've got some accident history at this location, and they're using highway safety funds to do this. That's the explanation.
My guess is that most of the traffic coming down that way is going at a highway speed.
Yeah, and this roundabout forces traffic to slow down.
When people come from the Heron Culp Road to turn left, they may not see a car coming because it's kind of, I think if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
it might
there's a
be little bit
skew.
of a hill.
Yeah.
Right there. And so by the time they see a car, it's got to travel at a high rate and, get out of the way time or stop.
Right. One thing they're talking to me about is on this road here, this is the Blairsville Road. They're talking to me about that, because they're gonna have to take out part of that. We're still in negotiations, because want me to do some things that I can't necessarily do, and so we're still in talks about that. So as that unfolds, I'll know more, but right now, I wanted you guys to be aware of this, so I'll leave a copy of this.
Well, state has an endless supply of money.
Nobody does that I'm aware of, but anyway, that's all I've got. Unless you have questions.
Make you guys, at the simple meeting we had Monday, make sure this gets out to everybody that, starting in the construction season this year on Interstate 57, going north, they're going to start with increasing that to 3 lanes, going all the way to Benton from Johnston City. It's going to be a 2-year project. And they're going to be replacing some overpasses at the same time. They're going to replace the overpass, Ida, where the Love's truck stop is. So that's going to be under construction. They think that could actually take 1.5 years to do that overpass, because it's going to be 1 lane at a time. And so it's going to be a nightmare. And so going northbound on 57, literally for 2 years is going to be jacked up between Johnston City and Benton. Then they're going to do some patchwork on the road, and they don't know when that's going to happen yet, when the weather breaks. But anybody who's traveled 57 lately, I was on it Saturday, between West Frankfort and Benton, especially like that middle area, the middle part of 57 northbound is literally falling apart. So when they do that, when they start to fix that, they expect, their words, long delays in doing that. The last time they did that, there was a lot of different crashes. So I asked them if they would publicize that a little bit better than they did last summer when they were doing that rubble work. And they said they would take it under advisement.
They're also pursuing money to go further north from Benton. I got a thing this week asking me to give them a letter of support so they can get more money to make 6 lanes. They haven't got it, but they're trying to get more money. Their multi-year program is having moderate to severe issues with funding. So they're trying to get federal grants, special federal grants to help fund that. So,
If they make that 6 lanes, will they designate the right lane as a truck lane by the chance of?
I would hope so, because that would certainly help, because that's the trucks, the volume of trucks on the ground is
Just
just
make the 6 lanes.
incredible. Yeah,
Well, that was the plan from 24 to 64.
24 to 60.
And they had the money secured from the federal government a few years ago. And then when the Pat Quinn administration didn't do some of the things that they were supposed to, surprise, in the state matching what it was supposed to pay, it slowed everything down. So now it's still a go, but instead of being done in 5 to 10 years, it's now going to take 15 to 20 years, apparently.
The having 6 lanes will be a help. It's the pain getting there is going to be tough. Just like you said, there's backups and delays, and accidents. It's painful getting there. Once they get it, it's going to be nice.
But they're literally looking at 2 years from Johnson City to just to the north side of Benton. It will be a 2-year project. So that just wanted to make sure with you here, and you had the thing with IDOT that reminded me that that's coming down the pipe. And they expect that construction to start just as soon as the weather breaks. So I'm going to guess possibly as early as May is when they want to start that project. And the bids have already been put out, so they know who's going to do what sections. So they're way ahead of the game.
That's good.
It'll be a fun summer.
That's all I
That's
have.
it.
What's, did you talk about that.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, yeah, thank you. Hatfield subdivision, he brought the plat, all the signatures are on it, it's ready to go. Friday, I called up to Amanda's office and checked to see on the delinquent taxes, to see if they were current on their taxes, and they were not. They were behind on their taxes, so I am not bringing it to you guys for approval, and I called them, let them know, I'm not gonna bring it to you guys for approval until they're current on their taxes. So that's kind of what the situation is with that. So,
All right, anybody got anything with old business?
Sort of, kind of, but the old famous board of recycling. They, you know, we had issues with Johnson City. So it is on the books or on the record over there that they pick up once a week.
Supposed to.
Each spot, here and there.
Right.
They couldn't miss a week. So I think, nothing decided today, but I think someone we need to decide either get a bigger container, take okay with this. Or B, possibly, invest in $2,500, $3,000, except van up, that engine put in it, and put our trailer, just in case not. That's really all options we got. We're just gonna keep doing it. You know,
On the trailer, or not trailer, the container size, you talk about Gary, I don't think they have any bigger containers. That is,
But he said, well, I think. he
You're
said-
talking the construction style. They're
I don't
not,
know, he-
they don't have the flap that goes over it. This
you're
is,
talking about like an open.
the only, yeah, if you go to a bigger container, you're going to the open.
He could either get a bigger container, he said, or you have to get more, and we backed off it, because Kevin was coming by.
Right.
Once. Or we put the van, get the van back in action, and he could do his little trailers and just do like he did.
I thought we sold those trailers.
Because it's not gonna-
No, they never, the guy that was interested never came through.
Okay.
So we got, I think we figure out what we're paying them.
Well, the problem with those trailers, if you'll remember, is getting the stuff out of them. Because they have to
Well, he would
be,
take them home in a day, or he would take them. like that.
I understand, but you still have the problem with getting the stuff out of them because you have those trap doors and they have to be manually pulled out.
Secondly, that van was never designed to pull a trailer.
Correct. It's gonna
It's
blow up
gonna-
again.
Yeah, I would
So
not
we,
put any money.
so we
into that
want,
van.
maybe, he's gonna have to, cost us to do that.
I would say, I would look more toward getting another container,
Yeah.
you know.
They have
I'll see
those,
what the cost is on it.
they have those, they have the two sizes. They have the smaller size construction with the open top and then you got the great big long one. The 20, I think they call it 20
If you get
yards.
The open ones, I'm afraid people are just gonna use that to dump everything. It's gonna be,
They can-
I mean, they're doing
They
it
can do that
now.
now, but I know what you mean.
You know what I'm saying? When, you'll find you'll have all kinds of construction stuff in there and everything. It's gonna
What we
be a
could take a look at
refuge instead of recycling.
is put in a second dumpster like what we have, because they have the truck that comes up, they don't get out of the truck.
No.
They just come up with the forklift, grab it, pull it back, and then the doors open up as it comes back over the top, dumps the stuff out. They set it back down and they go. If we had two of those there, that would be like having a big open one. That would be one,
I'll just get the information and bring it back to
okay,
it. Pricing and all that.
because,
Options.
shoot,
I talked to him last night.
I think we pay something like about 400 a month,
5.
500 a month. So we'd be
That's
looking at,
for two locations, right?
right, we'd be, and if we put a second dumpster there, I don't think, up until when they were not picking this stuff up for a couple of weeks up in Johnson City, we've never had a problem with it being overly full in
Not in
Johnson City.
Johnson
The only
City.
place we would need a second dumpster would be over here across the street, right?
The part of the problem is, that, we've gone back and forth with the number of times where we had picked up and stuff. But I think if you talk to Gary, from what I gather, they have a set schedule when they pick it up. So it's,
Supposed to.
they only do it on
Wednesday or whatever.
one day a week or whatever. You just tell us what day it is or whatever, but I don't know. So we'll probably need to sit down with Gary, have him come in and everybody, so we can figure out all this.
I'll get the options and pricing.
Yeah. But I would be against fixing that van up. That van's, fix the transmission, then the motor shot. And it's not designed to pull. That's a heavy trailer. Plus, like Ron said, it does this, it empties from the bottom.
It literally has to be pulled out because Progress Port hated them because it would take 30 minutes to unload one dumpster.
We could probably try another push, try to get rid of them again. That's what they were, and they're not working on.
And we take them to.
Take them to Simcoe.
Well, I was thinking for recycling place.
Yeah, recycle the trailer.
They got some weight to them. Wait till the price comes up a little bit.
That's it, I'll find out what to.
Okay. You got anything, bud? No. Next in line under new business.
Well, I look at we back up. I'll give you a little update. Kyle File's been emailing me back and forth a little bit about the white ash. And, he's looking and they've had their guy look at the lift stations and everything. They're gonna go talk to the city of Johnson City, talk about working out some sort of arrangement. And I said, I let Kyle know, if you would let us know, and maybe me and Wendy or somebody could sit in on that meeting as well, to kind of give them any reference or whoever wants to go, to kind of help facilitate the meeting if they need, have a question that needs answered. So,
Yes. Yesterday. Oh, goodness. Would that be a blessing? I hope they can pull that off.
Oh, boy.
Next is, we received a letter of resignation from Brinson. And Brinson, we wish you well. You want to come up and talk for a few seconds,
Seconds?
minutes?
Well, I submitted my letter and effective at the end of March 31st. And just to kind of fill you in on where, we've had several people retire over the course of my 30 years here. And the parties, Republican or Democrats, always fought for the name and it's been approved by the board. That process is ongoing. They're conducting interviews. And they should have someone to recommend, I would say, within the next week or two. So there'll be enough time for me to go over, how things operate and fill in details of what they need to know and going forward.
They're interviewing, are you on interview, you interview them yourself, or
I'm sitting in on the interviews.
you gotta be the one that really recommend?
Well, when you can ask them kind of general questions, and then they ask me, and I can ask them some more specific questions. And they're relying a lot on my input.
So, we're getting very, very close. Hopefully by the end of this month, we'll have all of the hearings completed. And we know that the multiplier has been tentatively approved at 1.00. And the final abstract is due to Springfield by March 5th. So we're moving quickly
Yeah.
toward real estate tax.
Yeah, so last year, the tax bills went out around the end of May, 1st of June, somewhere in that ballpark.
Right after Memorial Day.
Yeah, and I'm anticipating that, at least that time, or maybe even a little bit sooner, the way you guys are working on board review. So I know we work, the treasurer's office works real close with Amanda, the county clerk's office, and the assessor to get all that done. So I'm not anticipating anything out of the ordinary based on what she's told me. For once you guys are done with your abstract and hand it off to the county clerk and the treasurer.
After 30 years, but when you get up in the morning, go to the car, how's it going to be? The car's going to be automatically tuned to come here.
Yeah, it's gonna be different, not having to get up till 1 o'clock, but life goes on.
So good luck with everything.
Thank you. Anything else?
Nope.
All right.
thanks.
You had a quarterly report?
We need to,
I guess we do need to vote on that.
Approve.
Yeah,
Yeah, you'll need to vote to accept.
Okay.
Yes.
so we need a motion to accept the resignation letter of Brinson Venable as county treasurer.
I'll make that motion. So approve the resignation letter of Brinson Venable. As I say, in office meeting March 31st, 2019.
I'll second that.
Jim Marlowe.
Yay.
Brett Gentry.
Yay.
Ron Ellis.
Yay. Ms. Moore.
Once again, the quarterly report, not a lot has changed, but I've added some things on general statistics. On the second page, we're talking about public school districts. Right here, could you tell me if public school administrators, if you have 93 or if you have a 64?
On this,
Right up here on the top. Next page.
Oh, I see.
Okay, this is the incorrect, I'm gonna forward you the correct one.
you have, it's
Those are the wrong
93?
numbers. Yeah, it should be 93 for the public school administrators and 1393 for school teachers.
93 and 90.
1390,
So we have 1,393 teachers presently in our area,
correct,
in our 4 counties.
correct.
Is that up or down?
Wow.
I don't know, just started doing.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's up or down. I do know that, I'm gonna assume it's down because we have a teacher shortage.
I know,
You hear about it all the time.
Positions. Mhm.
we're having, I know I've talked to a couple of different school superintendents and how difficult it is to even get substitute teachers to come in and to fill all of the classrooms.
We've been doing, so the state approved substitute teachers being allowed at 60 hours of college credit rather than a bachelor's degree. And so we've been conducting substitute trainings a couple of times a month and get people into the schools. So the trainings basically go over some professionalism and, what to expect and how to approach and behave and what to do and so forth. Because, it's important that they keep things moving smoothly and know what to expect. And then when they get to the school districts, then they get a little more detailed information, such as some of their routines and what they're scheduled.
On that training, how long does that training take?
3 hours.
Okay. Because I know someone that has their bachelor's degree and they're going for 2 different master's degrees right now, but they're not working anywhere.
They don't have to take the training. Some people are, just because it's really good. It's good information that you need to know when you're going into a school district. You always know what's going on, and oftentimes if you're going to be a substitute teacher, the office just assumes you already know what you're doing, and so sometimes you kind of feel like you're just feeling it out. But the training is good, but if they have a bachelor's degree, they don't have to go through the training. They would have to go through the background check. And so
I still think it'd be smart.
I think it is too. It's good information, and all of the trainings and times are on either our Facebook page or on our website. And so we try and keep those things updated and push information out on a regular basis. Other than that, it's just the basic information that's in here that we generally report on anyway.
For Senate Bill 1, does that include the minimum salary for teachers that would go up to 40,000, and how would that be implemented? I didn't see anything in that.
Well, it's fully implemented, I think, by 2025, so it goes up gradually each year. I don't know if that would be, 40,000 is going to be the base salary, or if that's going to be the salary plus benefits as a whole. So that hasn't, I don't know that that's been specified yet. But yes, it just gradually goes up until 2025, because school districts can't just go to 40,000 and just like that. It's a gradual increase.
And has there been any discussion on I forget the House bill number, but reducing the property tax by 10% across the board?
I've not heard anything on that. As much as they report on a regular basis, and I've not seen anything.
That's out there.
Yes.
And it's being, I was told that they want to push that through in this particular legislative session.
I'll get more information on that, see where they are with that.
Our cut would be a little over $4.7 million as a county. It'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
It is,
I got a question for you.
sure.
On the truancy aspect of this, can you tell me what the difference is between the letter served, step one, step two?
It is, well, it's based on the number of days that they miss. And it's just a process you have to go through based on the grant that we have with the state. And so, the student who is absent one day without cause can be considered a truant. Most of the time, your school districts aren't gonna turn it in until they hit about 3 to 5. However, 9, the entire school year would be considered a chronic truant. So it's a gradual progression. And so in order to make it to maybe court, they would have to have met all the other criteria. So we start out with a letter, and most of the time, ROE sends that letter rather than the school district. Sorry. And then we have meetings. I don't know if it's step 2 or 3 that we have it with the state attorney. Three.
Step one is generally just an initial letter to the parents, letting them know that they've missed a certain number of absences, and that from this point on, any additional absence will require doctor's notes, things like that. If they continue, then a step 2 letter goes out for a meeting at the school, and that requires the parents to come in and meet at the school with the truancy officer and any school officials. And they're basically told, this is your last chance. If you miss any more, it's going to have to continue on. If they then continue on, the step 3 meetings take place here with the state's attorney's office being present. And we basically tell them, this is your final chance. If you miss again, we're filing charges. And then at that point, it then comes to our
They file
office.
charges against the parents.
Depends on the age. There's no specific cutoff. There's truancy and then there's permitting truancy. Most of the time, if the child is 8th grade and younger, we file on the parents because we believe if they're at that age, it's the parents' responsibility essentially to get them to school. Usually 9th grade and above, a lot of times it's the child that seems to be more of the issue, and a lot of times we'll actually file on the minor in juvenile court. So there's both ways.
There's not always a lot of teeth to it.
I was gonna say, what happens at the very end? You go through the whole thing, the whole process. You go through step 1, 2, 3,
Well,
whatever.
Depending on who's charged, it's a Class C misdemeanor.
Uh-huh.
So it's really not that severe of an offense. For an adult, I would charge you, say, with permitting truancy. If your child was truant and you continue to let them be truant, I would charge you with permitting truancy. It's a Class C misdemeanor, which essentially means the maximum penalty is 30 days in jail, up to $1,500 in fines, up to 12 months of probation or conditional discharge. If you get a second or subsequent conviction, it can go up to a Class A misdemeanor, which would be harsher penalties, but still only up to a year in county jail.
Now, now, this could be either the student, if they're old enough, or the parent.
Mhm.
Now, if it's a student, you still provide them education while they're in jail?
Usually they
Oh,
go to
yeah.
the juvenile detention
Yeah, if they're in the
center,
juvenile-
there's point
yeah.
system, and we provide that education there as well.
Yeah, the juvenile detention center does provide education to the minors
Okay.
that are housed in there. That's usually a last resort. Our juvenile judge doesn't typically send truant students. Usually it's just monitoring. It's basically trying to convince them to attend school, figuring out what's the underlying issue as to why they're not attending school, trying to help resolve that.
Okay.
Encouraging them to attend, and the judge can take their driver's license away. He can assess daily fines for each day that they continue to be truant. There's things.
We're kind of looking into maybe doing a ticket, an ordinance to where we do tickets.
Yeah, the truancy officer has been in touch with me about, there's some other counties that actually have a truancy ordinance, which is something more than just the state statute, something that they can kind of do locally. That provides a few more options, public service works and things like that. So there has been some interest expressed at looking into that.
Schools are also working on like the resilience, Southern Illinois, which one we wanted to try to get to the bottom of why the school, try to get them. About the support that they need outside of just school, usually an underlying reason.
Yeah, and I know most of the schools have parent liaisons
Yeah.
that will actually do home visits.
Right.
If a child, hasn't been to school in 2 or 3 days and they haven't had there's been basically a no call, no show.
Right.
the parent liaison may go to that child's home and just do a welfare check. You know, why has this child not been in school for a few days? What's going on? Is everything okay? I mean, so they try to keep an eye on these kids as best they can.
Any other questions? Well, I would like to thank you. We have Mike organized to have our office painted, the floors cleaned, it's all nice and clean. We're ready to everything put back in there. So maybe I should come and see that it's actually.
Well, it must be nice to be floor clean.
I
I've been on this-
They
I've been
should've
asking
come
a year
down here.
ago.
Brad did that one.
They said, we'll get right on
Done
it.
that one.
That's a year ago.
Yeah, that Coxville.
Yeah.
Brent's trying to eliminate his
No,
setting.
no.
I think, Brandon, if I'm not wrong, mistaken, and they're going to educational meetings at the end.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
it was there long before. Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Any more questions?
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you. Go ahead.
No, on the next one, the tipping fees, I had you guys put in the box, we got a notice from New Earth Compost Facility that they started the EPA proceedings to try to set up a landfill here in Williamson County. We've had some other people look at that before, but I just wanted to put on there the tipping fees. I know something we have discussed before, but haven't discussed anything in a long time about establishing, updating that policy that we have regarding tipping fees and establishing a price, because when this was done back in the 80s, it's tremendously outdated now.
I can tell you what happened years ago. Well,
I would say, I know it gets brought up every
Few
so
years.
often.
Well, when Mike was here, we had this, of course, the guy up there.
Mhm.
And they say, they claim, or he claimed, that we have to sit down with them and negotiate it. You know, one-on-one with them at a table and come up with a figure that's fit for both of us. But personally, I think as long as we're in, you know, if it's $1.50 a ton, whatever it is, as long as we're in line with everybody else, it really doesn't matter what their figure is. It's what the county's figure is. And then they can base their business on our figure. Well, if we stay in line with Jackson County, people like that, who cares? I mean, why? I never understand why we would negotiate with them. It's either, this is the price, this is the
Say
going
with
price.
Them, you mean with the landfill owner or
Yeah.
with the EPA?
Ma'am, thank you. This is what he said, okay, Mike, before. But I don't know why there's negotiation. It's, you know, they'll want 50 cents, and we say it's $1.50, the same as Jackson County, whoever, that's the way it is. So we either go by our rules or don't come. So I'm not sure why he meant negotiated. But I do think he said, if you look back, I think one of the reasons he said this, back years ago, we do have a number in there for tipping fees. And
But it's very low.
and he said it should be raised. But I still don't know why you'd have to negotiate it. That's my take. This-
I think we ought to take a look at an average, the average tipping fee.
Yeah, as long
And
as
then
it's fair.
compare what we have now, you know, and look at Jackson County, but let's look at a lot of other.
I think it's really, really low. I think like 75 cents. I think it's really low.
It's real low.
But I never could understand why you have to sit down with them and negotiate. There's no negotiating about it. As long as we're fair, we're the county, they're wanting to come here, so. Anyway, you'll find that. You'll find there's a number. It may be $1. I don't know what it is, somewhere right in there.
Maybe if you wanted to raise it a certain amount at once, you have to
There's some kind of.
provide notice or something.
Okay.
But
Now, this on
if you
Samuel.
wouldn't mind looking at that, please.
Yeah,
This
absolutely.
is on Samuel, this is across from SI Bowl.
All this is that anytime, when somebody applies to the EPA for a certain type of permit, the EPA is required by law to send notice to us. I get these, I think they come to the board office. There's nothing for us to do here. We have no authority whether the EPA grants the permits or not. The only thing that there's just required to send us notice if we want to comment, if we have any comments we want to make or any concerns we want to provide to the EPA about it. That's pretty much all there is to do. Otherwise, we just file these away in a file.
And that's, all I used this for was, this was just an avenue
To remind the
jog
tipping
the memory
fees.
that
Sure.
we've never addressed the tipping fee issue.
Now, if you look at this is going to be just a composting facility, with yard waste.
Yeah, that's the other thing, I'm treating that yard waste, that would be,
Grass cuttings,
you know, that.
Tree limbs. it wouldn't, I used it as a memory.
Oh, okay, okay.
So this is not.
We have, no,
No, okay.
we haven't ever addressed the tipping fees, and when I got this,
Well, I think the one guy out there's still moving forward, I think, but we're gonna have to.
it's a snail's pace. But,
It's not gonna be a landfill. I think this is gonna be something where they take this composting and maybe try to resell it.
correct, you're exactly correct. But all I did was, this just jogged my memory that we've never addressed the tipping
I got
fees.
10-4.
So it wasn't, I wasn't trying to say that these people are doing anything wrong or anything, it's just that, oops, we have a dangling participle out there.
We're gonna have to address that one.
And it would be in our best interest to have it, to do it in advance before
Place before.
somebody really wants to come in here and open up, and then we're chasing the rabbit.
Yeah.
All right. So Wendy, we'll put that on your list of things to
I got it on my
ever
list.
increasing list. The bargaining agreement between the Williamson County, in this case, Board of Commissioners of Williamson County Government and the American Federation of State and County Municipal Employees, for the Assessor's Office, EMA, Highway Department Secretary, the Coroner's Office Secretary, that bargaining unit. This is a contract that we negotiated. It's for 4 years through November 30th of 2022. It will be retroactive back to December 1st of 2018. And one of the significant things in this was that the rate of wage increase for the 4 years is 55 cents an hour. And it will be retroactive back to December 1. So,
One thing I want to point out is, I think, this says EMA, I don't believe Pat's in this.
no, he's not.
But I don't get the Hershey's on there.
Well, it was in there at one time.
It was.
Yeah,
So if they do get an employee,
For future, they won't want to take it out. for
it would
future.
be under ASME, is
Correct.
why they left that department in there. So,
Leave it on there.
Is IT still in here?
IT.
yes.
Yes, technically.
Okay.
Through Jeff's office. It's not,
Well, that's why I
it's
didn't
not
know
his
if
own
it was.
individual person.
And that position's unfilled at this time too, of which Jeremy pointed out that he realizes that position's unfilled. And,
It's very nice of him to point that out.
yeah,
Okay, I'll go ahead and make a motion to accept the bargaining agreement, between Williamson County and, ASME for the following offices, that we just approved. So, December 1, 2018, to November 30th, 2022.
I'll second it.
Jim Marlowe?
Yes.
Rick Gentry?
Yeah.
Ron Ellis?
yeah. And then, Services Disaster Agency, the Highway Department Secretary. Oh, that's all in that same thing. That's all one. Yeah. Then we have the Poker Run, and a raffle license application for the DFW Post 9763 over in Creel. They do this every year. And when you looked at this once again,
I have,
everything's in good order.
yeah. This is just their annual events that they plan for.
They do a good job.
Okay, so is that a motion?
Make a motion that we accept the raffle Poker Run license for the Veterans of War Award Post 9763 for their Community Action Club.
I'll second.
Jim Marlowe?
Yeah.
Rick Gentry?
Yeah.
Ron Ellis?
Okay. And then I'll make a motion that we accept the January 8th, 2019 minutes.
Second.
Did you second that?
I know.
Jim Marlowe?
Yeah.
Rick Gentry?
Yeah.
Ron Ellis?
Okay. And make a motion that we accept the January 15th, 2019 minutes.
Jim Marlowe? Rick Gentry?
Yeah.
Ron Ellis?
Yeah. Great, you want to read the, accept the reports?
Are we running you off? Are you that bored?
Thank you.
Thanks, my girl. Take care. Okay, accept reports, Williamson County Clerk, Vital Records, December 2018. Williamson County Clerk, Mobile Home Trust, December 2018. Williamson County Clerk, Real Estate Trust Account, December 2018. Williamson County Clerk, Cities Account, December 2018. Williamson County General Fund, November 2018. Williamson County General Fund, December 2018. And Williamson County General Fund, January 2019. Except for file.
And Jim, would you care to do
Ha
our resolutions?
Yeah.
Boy, did I look out that one.
Amanda, this, talking about polling place.
Oh, yeah.
Location.
Yeah, this is over in Karst. A couple of years ago, the municipal building where we used to have it had some damage and we couldn't go into that building anymore. So we moved it to actually two different buildings. We're on our second building over there that we're using in church right now. But the municipal building, they've relocated it. They've built a new building and they're wanting us to come back. It's a nice building. I've gone over and checked it out. So they've asked us to come back to that. And it will work out better than, a church is harder to get to on that first day, the day right before an election. So
So you're good with it?
I'm good with it.
Make a motion, for the polling place relocation resolution, resolution number 19-02-13-07.
I'll second that.
Jim Marlowe,
Yay.
Bridge Gentry,
Yeah.
Ron Ellis.
Yeah. All right, real quick. The early voting for the municipal elections coming up, when does that start?
Next week, I believe.
Next-
Yeah, military ballots go out Friday and early voting, grace period voting all starts next week.
Was it 21st?
I think that sounds about right, 21st or 22nd. Sorry.
Okay. No,
But
that's
that
fine.
being said too, what do you guys want me to do as far as delivery of polling place? Like, you know,
For the
last time
first-
Kevin helped me with that, am I still going to do that, go that route or delivery? Still okay too? I haven't reached out to Kevin and talked to
Interferes
him.
with recycling system, we need to send out a notice.
Okay, so I'll reach out to Kevin then and talk to him. And it's okay
Because you
with
still
you
have to
guys.
put up, you still have to,
We have
because of school
all
elections, all 65
polling-
precincts.
Yes,
You gotta use the truck.
yeah. Okay, I'll talk to him. Thank you.
Okey. All right.
All right. Mr. Marlowe.
Did we pass the resolution then?
What's that?
Did we
I
pass the
approve the
resolution?
sale to new
Oh.
owner Cody R. Dillon, number 03-17-354-001.
Second.
Jim Marlowe,
Yay.
Brett Gentry,
Yay.
Ron Ellis.
Yay.
Make a motion to approve the sale to new owner Augustin Duran, 05-07-380-009.
Second.
Jim Marlowe,
Yay.
Brett Gentry,
Yay.
Ron Ellis.
Yay.
Make a motion to approve the sale to new owner Augustin Duran, 05-07-383-020.
Second.
Jim Marlowe,
Yay.
Brett Gentry,
Yay.
Ron Ellis.
Yay.
Make a motion to approve sale to new owner Augustin Duran, 05-07-383-030.
Second.
Jim Marlowe,
Yay.
Brett Gentry,
Yay.
Ron Ellis.
Yay.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the sale to new owner JECC Investment LLC, property number 06-24-297-002.
Second.
Jim Marlowe,
Yay.
Brett Gentry,
Yay.
Ron Ellis.
Yay.
Make a motion to approve the sale to new owner Dustin L. Baker, 11-26-282-003.
Second.
Jim Marlowe,
Yay.
Brett Gentry,
Yay.
Ron Ellis.
Yay.
Make a motion to approve the sale to new owner Tanner, 401k Plan Trust, 02-22-700-001. And I guess we need to do that one first. Or do we need to come out and do them both?
They're lumped. They're all lumped together.
Those three of them.
And 02-22-700-003 and 02-22-700-004.
Second.
Jim Marlowe,
Yeah.
Brett Gentry,
Yeah.
Ron Ellis.
Yeah, you want to keep going, you want to take over? You okay?
Approve the sale to new owner Tanner, 401k Plan Trust, 07-04-700-004 and 07-04-700-007.
Second.
Jim Marlowe.
Yeah.
Brett Gentry.
Yeah.
Ron Ellis.
Yay.
Make a motion to approve sale of new owner Michael L. Jarvis, 09-189-05. Are we missing some numbers on this?
No,
No, that's
that's a mobile home.
Okay.
Second.
I mean,
Jim Marlowe.
Yeah.
Brett Gentry.
Yeah.
Ron Ellis.
Yeah.
Was it
make a
Brent?
motion to approve sale to new owner Amanda Lauderdale, 02-30-437-002.
Second.
Jim Marlowe.
Yeah.
Brett Gentry.
Yeah.
Ron Ellis.
Yeah.
Make a motion to approve sale to new owner Amanda Holland, 02-30-437-003.
Marlowe.
Yeah.
Gentry.
Yeah.
Ellis.
Make a motion to approve sale to new owner JECC Investment, 06-24-326-013.
Second.
Marlowe.
Yeah.
Gentry.
Yeah.
Ellis.
Yeah.
Make a motion to approve sale to new owner Tanner, 401K Plan Trust, 07-19-132-045.
Second.
Marlowe.
Yeah.
Gentry.
Yeah.
Ellis.
Yeah.
Make a motion to approve sale to new owner Tanner, 401K Plan Trust, 12-25-485-004.
Second.
Marlowe.
Yeah.
Gentry.
Yeah.
Ellis.
Make a motion to, that's it.
Keep going.
Somebody get me with the
It's
board.
on the roll.
Next, we've got
What else do we need to approve? Stay in front of them.
a couple of reappointments and changes here on some of the boards. I had Stephanie take a look at the different appointments to make sure that we were current on everything. So in that, we found that there were a couple of deficiencies. Got a letter from Bernie Paul, the chairman of the Williamson County Airport Authority, and the term for Mr. John O'Keefe had expired, and they would like to reappoint him for another 5-year term, commencing today, February 13th, 2019, set to expire on July 31, 2024. Resolution 1902, 1319. I'd like to make that motion.
Jim Marlowe.
Yeah.
Brett Gentry.
Yeah.
Ron Ellis.
Okay. And then on the fire protection agency, Jeremy Norris, they did have a person who was resigning on anyway, Terry Pike. His term is set to expire, and he's asking not to be reappointed because of some health issues. He's asking that Jeremy's asking Rusty Baker be appointed to fill that vacancy to a 3-year term, starting with today, ending April 30th of 2020. I think Rusty will do a great job. He's helped us out immensely with White Ash, so he's very familiar with the county and looks forward to being a member of the fire protection district. So make the motion that we accept the resignation of Terry Pike and filling the vacancy by Rusty Baker for the Williamson County Fire Protection, resolution 1902-1320.
Second.
Jim Marlowe.
Yeah.
Brett Gentry.
Yeah.
Ron Ellis.
Yeah, and then,
We gotta approve this.
One's resignation, one.
One's a resignation.
He
I
did
did-
it together.
I did it together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's written out. Both of them.
As long as we do that.
I was under the impression we
Wanna
could.
make sure.
Yeah, I mean, we just,
So the next one is Matt Lee. His term has expired on the Williamson County Fire Protection District, and he would like to be reappointed. It's a 3-year term commencing today and ending April the 30th of 2022. Resolution number 1902-1321. Make the motion to accept Matt Lee's reappointment.
Second.
Jim Marlowe.
Yeah.
Brett Gentry.
Yeah.
Ron Ellis.
Okay. And then on the ETSB board, the Williamson County person to be filled, Scott McKay, his 3-year appointment had expired, and making a recommendation that Scott McKay be reappointed to the Williamson County ETSB board, resolution 1902-1325. and starting today, and it will expire on January 1, 2022. Mhm. Yeah, he took that.
He already
off time
had.
ago.
I'll second.
Jim Marlowe.
Yeah.
Brent Gentry.
Yeah.
Ron Ellis.
Vinny, 2 years ago, I think it was.
I don't think Benny could stomach it any longer.
No, I
You know what now?
Said Benny couldn't stomach it any longer.
No,
Can't blame you.
yeah. It'll be interesting. We're gonna have a change in the police chief for Marion, and Don Tondini's been on there since the board expanded. And so I don't know who the city's going to replace.
They go outside.
It's interesting, Ron. How are things going on the 911 board?
We're doing actually very well. We've eliminated the money crunch that we had. With the consolidation, with the subtraction of Williamson County being one of the main dispatcher units, the state came through and reimbursed us 90% of the cost of doing that. So we got $242,000 or $43,000. We just got that in. We got that invested. We actually have in cash reserve a little over $500,000 now. And we're in the black every month.
Never had that before.
No, and we're
And then
literally,
whoever the owner name on
the
the
board is
license
literally in the black
I could
every month.
probably
Ian
Uh,
Smith's
type it
still
up
in charge.
myself and.
Technically,
If not, I can come over and go
he's
through the
still
files.
there
and then-
until the end of
It's just,
April. He'll
I've
get
got
his
it in
last
right now.
paycheck
I
on
can
May
put
the
it on
3rd.
computer and
Uh,
print it out.
We've set up the guidelines for what we're looking for replacement for him. And we will make that, put that out there officially as we get closer to April 30th. It'll be happening here real quick, probably in March. I expect us to put that out, to start looking for replacement for him. But we did not want to replace him until after he was totally off the board, or as the director. He's not on the board, he's the director. And he's dealing with some health issues, and he had time that he could accrue that he was able to stay on the payroll until April 30th, around April 22nd, I think is his last day.
What are the qualifications you're looking for?
Oh my gosh, it's long. We've got it online, but it's very detailed, and somebody just off the street is not going to meet qualifications. They have to have specialized training. They have to have certain letters behind their name that they've gone through the classes already to be involved with emergency personnel. So I'm very happy with the direction that the board is going right now.
So does it seem like it's, everything's ironing out?
Very well.
I know it was a little contentious there for a while.
We are still having some major issues. Yeah, we were having some major problems. The biggest problem that we're having right now is getting all the municipal jurisdictions to play well together in the sandbox. And the problem that we're running into
Territorial.
is exactly,
Territorial. And wait for your.
and people responding. There's a unwritten rule out there that if you call 911, that within 6 minutes, there's going to be response to that 911 call. And we're not always getting that because some of the units that we have in the county are volunteer. Well, in 6 minutes, you can't get an all-volunteer department to respond because they have to leave their house, go get the vehicle, wherever that is, and then respond. Well, that can take 10 to 15 minutes. And then we're having a couple of issues with one municipality in particular that has gone with Abbott, and Abbott has bought Lifeline.
Okay.
And so I'm curious to see what's going to happen inside the city of Marion with Lifeline being bought by Abbott. And they're trying to make a bigger presence in the county, but their function is still St. Louis. So my concern is, how are they going to come down here and to service everybody properly? And we still have a lot of questions in that regard, but our functionality as a board is really doing well. It's just if we can get everybody in the communities to start playing together well for the safety, for the response of the safety of the people, That's the biggest concern that we have right now. They just had a big meeting 2, maybe 3 weeks ago over here in the sheriff's department, that big conference room that they have. There were over 70 people that attended that meeting to try to resolve these issues. And it's still an ongoing process, and it all comes down to money. The biggest thing that these communities want, if they can have their ambulance service go out on a call, even if they're not all volunteer, they're getting a reimbursement for that. And, but it comes down to, if it takes 10, 15, 20 minutes to respond, shoot, somebody could be dead. If you've got a heart attack or a stroke situation or a very bad accident, there's bleeding involved, you don't have 15 or 20 minutes to respond. And we're rural anyway. When you get into southern Williamson County or out in the far reaches of Williamson County, it can take up to a half hour to respond anyway.
We had a situation years ago, same type, I worked on ambulance for 15 years. I know how quick you got to get out of that door, but I'm gonna tell you something. We had a situation, a couple of them, a couple people passed away due to slow response. So I called a meeting, was over there at the time, and there was many people there. We were in the courtroom, and they're all EMS people. And basically it's territorial fight. And I told them I didn't give a, you know what, whether it's territorial or not, it's about saving a life. Somebody needs to roll out in 6 minutes, and then by the time they get there, they can take over the scene. Somebody needs to be there. That sounds like we're going right back to the same situation was back years ago.
Well, you're right, Brent, and
It's not
Carterville,
live, not territory.
Carterville makes a good argument. The citizens of Carterville have ponied up and they provide us ambulance service through the fire department, but they have an ambulance service 24/7, 365. And they have 2 cars. And they don't mind helping on a mutual aid agreement going to other communities. What they do have a problem with is, and I commend Brian Robinson for this, their mayor. He says that, and their fire chief, no, we're going to make sure that 1 car stays in Carterville at all times. And that hasn't necessarily always been the case.
That's, when I
And-
approached the board, you're right, it's not.
But that is their policy at the moment, but that's causing a lot of problems because you've got some areas to the north of there that are all volunteer. And it comes down to response time. And what has been asked, you guys are gonna love this one. And I'm glad you brought this up because the question was, well, why don't we have an all county? Like, you know, it's the name of Williamson County is ambulance service, but they're privately owned. They are not part of Williamson County. So the question was brought up, why don't we have a complete county ambulance service? And I said, there's absolutely no way that can
It's
happen.
not a moneymaker.
No.
Other counties are private,
This is why other counties are in trouble.
that's exactly right.
Other
That's
counties
what
have the
I
same
got.
thing with nursing homes, hospitals, everything.
It's a loser.
Money pits. And
And-
that's one of
Well,
the reasons why.
I got 3 people in the last couple of months that have asked me the question, you're on board, I want you to ask them this. They said they have called 911, it would rain, and rain, and rain, and rain. Another guy go back to the country, 911. I'll tell you what,
I've heard that too. I've heard that statement.
unacceptable.
I've asked that
It's happened to me.
and I don't have an answer for that. I know that it has been discussed.
It should
I know
go
they
to
were
rain.
going to discuss that. We haven't had a board meeting. Our board meeting's tomorrow. And it was after our last board meeting that they had this meeting in, it was the end of second, I think it was like this 22nd of January or something like that, when they had that board meeting. It was over here in the sheriff's office. And so I don't know what the results were of that. I'm sure this will be discussed. I know it's going to be discussed tomorrow to see what was. see
There were
what-
three people and citizens that asked me about it.
We've
So
got someone in the audience here.
Les is gonna, are you gonna sing and dance for us, Les?
I'm the only one left.
You must have not taken a shower because everybody cleared out.
I don't know, I put on cologne, I thought, well, I'm stink anyway. No, just a couple of things,
Well, if you would, come up to the stand.
do I have to stand on that X?
Golden X.
The golden X, Les, the golden X.
The reason,
Anyway,
that way the people, the general public can watch it.
Yeah, well, general public,
Well,
I've already run that off. Okay. Okay, anyway, this might be a safety issue, and I had mentioned before, but not at a meeting. On Skyline Drive, which I use quite a bit to get to my house, I live in Crenshaw. Anyway, as you go up that hill, you have the, 2 or 3 businesses there, the gun and palm shop, and the baseball training, or whatever it is. They have these floodlights on these poles. And the way they have them aimed, when you're coming up that hill, the light kind of reflects into your eyes. So, that's kind of a bad place for deer and even oncoming traffic. But I was wondering if they couldn't be addressed and put shields on those lights to keep the stray light from shining in your eyes when you
Who owns the lights?
Now, that I don't know.
Well, I can tell you
That
that's
shines
not,
on their business.
that part there is not county.
Yeah, that's
That's
probably.
That's
That's-
Marion.
That's Marion?
Because I've
Okay.
been through the Greg before.
Okay.
Is it an IDOT road though?
That would be, it'd be a city manager
Turn,
up
yeah.
until it changes
Yeah,
over.
we put side shields on.
Where are the lights at? Are the lights right on the road, or are the lights along the business?
Are the lights on the right of way, are they on the,
Are they like
They're-
part of
Or
the?
they
They
built-
probably are, they're on the utility poles, I believe.
okay, that would, see.
Well, it might be.
I've not been out there.
Right away, I don't know.
People also ask us, what, can you put a light up at this dark intersection? The answer is no, because that's a power person. So I don't know if it's
Well, speaking of that,
camera.
a bad place for that is when you are coming up on 37, and you come up to the road, I don't know what it is, just past these pets, where you turn to go, okay, there is no light there, so it's hard to see where that intersection is, and even the intersection itself is kind of dark,
What the power people told me before, we can't, it costs us too much to get power
Somebody has
to that point.
Yeah.
It's
So there's a utility pole right there, I think, on that intersection, so
Yeah.
it'll just be a matter of putting a light up.
Right, but the question is, who pays the bill for the light? That's,
Oh, we've heard it, believe it. And it's,
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, you're talking about safety, but, another issue is, I don't know who the contractor is that does your oil and chipping in the county.
it varies.
It varies?
Yeah.
Okay. I know on Ryan Drive and even on my road, there's a lot of excess chat. And there's so much on Ryan Drive that you take all this rain, it would settle the dust and wash the excess dust away, but when it dries up, you drive down that road, it's just a fog of dust. They use so much rock and chat. And then at these intersections, all the excess chat, it kind of piles up, so you've got a pile of loose chat there. And if somebody pulls up, they can skid out into the intersection or whatever.
Where's Ryan Drive?
Goes along the old drive-in, and, it kind of parallels with 148. It's,
So it's, you turn there, you turn left at the VFW, and is that going back to the left there on 37?
on 137.
No, he's over.
Ryan Drive is, it
Back towards the
goes
old drive-in theater.
about the old drive-in theater, parallel with the Egyptian.
148 by the
Yeah.
airport.
Oh,
Yeah.
over by Fort Energy.
Well, yeah, that's one. The issue with the other road, off 37 was just a security light there at that intersection. So you can better see the road when you're gonna turn, when you wanna turn there. The thing I look at is the road sign itself on the right side, so I'll know where the road is, because you can't even see the intersection there. You can't see the road.
I can tell Greg about Ryan Drive, so they, I don't know what they do, but
I
Yeah.
don't know whose jurisdiction that is. I don't know, is that county or is that?
I was at to ask, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It may be.
I've seen the sign, but I know about where it is, but I don't know who it is.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me right there where that's at, if that's not part of Energy.
I'll let you know.
Okay. Well, also, the intersection at Decatur and Crenshaw, there's a big pile of excess chat there, just for,
That's,
I think a lot of the rain we've had has really,
We've had this issue before on various other places. And, Greg and I have looked at some. That one guy that had that subdivision out on the west end that came in a couple of times, that Butch, what's his name? Same thing. We had, I set up a meeting with, a conference call with Butch and Greg, and
the foreman that were on the job at the time and the guy, and the company that did the job. And they all assured that there was not excess. So when they do a job like that, I mean, the county does have foremen there that approves what's going on. You know, so in other words, they're the overseers of the company that they subcontract with. So it's gonna be up to Greg,
But the one I know for sure does is the
you
Cato
know,
Crenshaw.
and
I'll talk to him.
Okay. Also, kind of a similar issue, when I lived down in Saraville, when they salt and cinder the roads, a lot of that cinder gets piled up the same way, and it's really, I mean, it's really a stop hazard. I pulled up there one morning on my way to work, and right there at the Saraville Y, I almost skidded out into the other lane, you know, if there's cars coming around that curve there, the intersection, you know, that could be a danger. I don't know how big of a task it would be to clean it up after, you know.
It's almost impossible.
Yeah.
Just by attrition, because vehicles will be traveling over it, and then rainstorms that they have will help wash it off to the side.
Yeah.
But there's no way the highway department can go through, once they get the material down for the salt, to come back and clean, to scrape, to have that big auger machine that has, like the cities have, that brush
Yeah.
the streets.
Right.
There's no way that could happen.
Like the old airport room.
Yep.
That's what we were supposed to do after a winter operation. Of course, it was sand. We were supposed to go back and sweep off the excess sand so it wouldn't get, you know, ingested up in the engines and such as that. No, just, you know, a couple of thoughts.
it's gonna be up to Greg to determine all of that.
I've got all these, I got these written down. I was asking him, I said, you know,
You might want to give him a call too, just to talk to him.
At the risk of sounding like Columbo, one more thing. I know there's no county ordinance for dogs barking. I know cities have that, but I was told there was no county ordinance. If you have a dog in the neighborhood, say out there, it's somewhere between Crenshaw and Decatur Road, you know, there's those houses out there now developing that. Someone has a dog and it's every day you hear this dog, and I don't know why it's barking, if it's being neglected or what, but you can hear it all through the countryside. And I'd call the dog,
Animal control.
animal control before, and then go investigate to see if the dog is, you know, being neglected or whatever. But they said, we can't do anything about the barking, you would have to call the sheriff's department.
And they're not gonna do anything. You make that phone call, but there isn't anything gonna happen.
they'll say there's not a noise ordinance, they'll say.
So you go visit the neighbor and say, hey, can you shut your dog up, you know, or take care of your dog, whatever its need is.
That's usually the best, it really is. Say, what, you know, your dog is.
So then you call the sheriff and there's a confrontation and.
That's what
the
leads
sheriff
next,
shows up.
that's what leads next.
Yeah, on the 911 calls too, I was listening and I thought, wow, that is unacceptable, but, in our concealed carry training, the guy said, well, call the sheriff and tell him someone's been shot, there'll be someone there in 2 minutes. So, you know,
If they answer the phone,
if they answer the phone, yeah, I've never had to call 911,
But, that can get you in trouble too, if you're saying there's a gun problem in
but, oh, I know, a false report, yeah.
I called them before and don't answer.
I called over an accident in front of me one time, it took a lot of rings, they finally answered. Two or three rings is tops, man.
Okay, well, I appreciate your audience.
Are you gonna sing for us or dance or anything?
I'm not in much of shape to dance. I'm still recovering from back surgery.
That,
So,
that town hall meeting was pretty impressive, what,
yeah, it was. And I've heard some afterthoughts on that as far as Mr. Zanati, you know, saying what he said. He's a state's attorney. And if the state hands down an order that you have to do this, you have to do that, now does he not have to do it? I mean, is he making a promise there that he can't back up?
I'm not going to speak for Mr. Zanati.
I kind of wonder some things on that.
And, you know, on saying that, all these issues that are coming down from the governor's office, this state's just going in the wrong way. And I don't see any solution for myself other than possibly leave the state. And I'm just one little guy, but
Well, there was a report that just came out this last week that, from the government, that shows that for this last year, Illinois was second to New York by just less than 2,500 people, the number of people that left the state. We had a little over 45,000 people leave the state this last year that wasn't replaced. And that follows up with another 48,000 from last year. So what you say there is
Well, the state's been going on direction for years and years and years.
in 1957, the state lost working people the size of Peoria, 157,000 people, but it was replaced with people that were a sanctuary state, with people who choose to come into the state in that regard. So it's, we have an interesting time in our state. It'll be interesting to see how we go forward.
I'm kind of related to a sinking ship. You know, bail out before the ship goes down. So I'm a lifetimer here. I hate to leave. I've got some family here, but there's nothing really tying me here anymore. So
You're asking the question a lot of people are.
if it comes down to that, I guess so be it.
Yeah, nobody ever found you out there.
Oh, yeah, they will. You got a cell phone, they'll find you.
No, they won't, because 80% of Polk County has no cell service.
Might be
A
right.
lot of deer down there though.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, buddy. There we go.
Anybody got anything else?
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
Oh, wait a minute, before that,
And so I was gonna ask something too.
before we get done, I just want to say, Steph, this will be the last time we have a meeting, full monthly board meeting before you have the baby, and good luck with that.
Thanks.
So when's he due?
She
She?
going in Sunday night, so maybe Monday morning.
Oh, Brent, I have another question. Who is your building maintenance person here?
Thank you for bringing it up again. You get me going, Les.
Yeah, that was one of my mom's pet peeves at the city hall, you know, she looked around and said, this place needs painted, it needs this, it's been this way for so many years.
Well, I'm serious. For 1 year, I bet they told me it'd been going down for 1 year.
It
Oh, it's
was
all
after
over.
one of those educational meetings with the regional office.
Well, heck, look back here.
That was there. They spilled something.
They
Right
spilled
under where you
coffee.
sit.
But it's all-
They have had the carpet cleaned since then.
This is a new building, and it's,
I thought it-
Yeah, I think that's a stain.
You
I
can-
think
yeah,
it's
it's a
determined it was a
stain.
bring
stain.
you some,
We could
what's it
say that's where,
called? Just the areas.
Well, we got the bids and everything. They said they get on that. That was almost a year. I asked Mike, he just showed up. We'll get there.
we could
There's
just create a story test.
A lot of
for Stephanie
things
had her
on the
baby.
PDC's list. Between all the
That rumor
buildings
going.
they cover,
Yeah,
they've
it's a
got
low spot there.
a number of things. They're working on the circuit clerk's office right now.
Right.
So they've got a lot of things on their list, and they try to tick them off as quick as they can. So every time one comes off, another new one comes on.
A stain just doesn't hit high enough on the needs list.
Sure will, good job.
Thank you. Take
So,
care.
but good luck with that.
One of the things I was going to ask: have any of you guys heard anything about an update on the audit report for the Public Defender's Office?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Have any of you heard any updates on the audit report for the Public Defender's Office?
Just 3 or 4 weeks ago, I heard it was flaring up again. That's all I know.
No, the audit report.
The audit report.
Oh.
I haven't heard anything.
Would one of you maybe want to reach out to Kim or her office and just see where that's at?
Okay.
I know it's tax season and she's probably very busy, but it's something that we're gonna need.
We need that really soon so we can address
You
those
know,
issues.
that's fine.
Yeah, I'll get a hold of her. I'll try to get a hold of her today. Send out a message on what we can find out.
Julie Brooke was asking too if we'd gotten that yet. I
Okay.
told her I hadn't seen it.
I haven't heard anything.
All righty.
Anybody got anything else?
That's all I have.
Can I make a motion?
Mhm.
I would like to make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Jim Morrow, Ron Ellis.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay.
Yep, I need to get up and mosey down the hallway.
Don't go far.
around there, girl?
It's a little harder every day.
Mold, we're supposed to have, mold and curly and ship and